My realisation for this week was that I have been living with one particular thing all week, but it has been showing up completely different each and every day. It was anxiety. Or I should say it still is. I'll explain in more detail, but anxiety has been coming to me in various different forms all week. I kept feeling a certain way. I don't know, just feeling uncertain, knowing that I'm not completely myself, but not understanding what it was, because the anxiety kept showing in various different ways, as I said. So it wasn't clear to me initially what's going on. Cheers. I have noted down a couple of points that I don't want to miss. And we all know once I start talking about something, I can ramble on and on. But just a couple of points to remind me what about the anxiety was mainly bothering me that I wanted to share. I wanted to voice it and get it out. So it initially started like out of nowhere. It was like one day all of a sudden I jumble up those words just to sound like noise, but let's try and speak a bit clearer. One day, all of a sudden, I just felt, I don't feel my normal self, but I don't know what it is. So I was taking note, like mentally, not notepad and pen, of when I don't feel myself and maybe what just happened. And when I say it came out of nowhere, when I look back on my full week, it just felt like I've got this new feeling, I don't know what it is, let's try and dig into it. So when I was thinking back, excuse me, pardon me, excuse, cheers. So when I was thinking back on this feeling, how it's just hit me, I actually recognised that the feeling was similar but different. So anxiety. I have had a level of anxiety ever since I was a child in primary school. I'm trying to give you an example. Right, one example. I would go into school one day, and the friends that were my friends that day, I would go in literally the next day, and they're not my friends. So I would have anxiety on how to address people, how to approach people. Do I have friends today? Do I not have friends today? Am I playing alone? Am I eating alone? Are they accepting me? Like, yeah, so it always made me anxious. That level of anxiety carried through my teens, carried up into my early 20s, just because being around familiar people could make me very anxious, I guess, awkwardly feeling like I was meeting someone brand new, like a stranger. And I've gone left in my brain. There was a point that I was making. The anxiety then progressed in my early 20s to what I call multiple sclerosis anxiety. This anxiety was because of multiple sclerosis symptoms. So for instance, I would have anxiety when I woke in the morning. I would think, can I walk today? Can I stand today? I would wiggle my toes at the end of my bed, and literally I wish I could show you a full view of what I do, but my hands I would wiggle, my toes I would wiggle, my legs I would shake, my arms I would shake. I'd move my head and think, okay, how am I functioning today? Am I dizzy or am I functioning okay? And then I'd have anxiety leaving the house because I wasn't that strong on my legs, still not greatly, but I wouldn't want to forget something, because to go back on myself, I didn't have the energy to do it. And then I would think, where I'm going, is there a clean, I air quote that because I'm about to say public toilet. How clean are they really? But a clean public toilet for me to use. If not, let's keep it short because my bladder's not very great, especially not in winter, out in the public, no matter how much I wrapped up to keep warm. This anxiety felt different to the both of those, and it was making me uneasy because I hadn't felt it before. I didn't know how to deal with it now. And this level of cheers. This level of anxiety was about my future thinking, and I'm not talking like 10 years time future, literally a month, 2 months, next week even, with a couple of things. It was all about me thinking about the future. Right, I want to do this, I've planned this, is this gonna happen? What do I have to do? It was, you know, they say managers that micromanage their staff. I was micromanaging my thoughts, and it wasn't doing well for me. And every day the anxiety was building up, but still feeling slightly different from the day before. And I realised that I know what's causing this. I have trigeminal neuralgia, trigeminal nerve across your face. I always say electrocutes, but it's worse than that. It's, I guess, torturously electrocutes me in the face as and when it chooses to. But it has been quiet for a good few weeks. No shocks, no pains, no attacks, no nothing. But last week I kept getting regular shocks. I get them here, so it feels like it's in my jaw, but it's not. It feels like it's deep in my tooth. Like, yeah, it's weird to explain, but I kept getting shocks, so it kept giving me anxiety on eating, drinking, washing my face, brushing my teeth. Anything that involves creaming my face, toning my face, anything that involves touching, irritating, dealing with this area gave me anxiety. So then it got me thinking, how am I going to do if this is happening? Because I've learned certain foods that I eat can bring on some pain, agitate my TN, trigeminal neuralgia, TN for sure. I have enough letters, multiple sclerosis, MS for sure, trigeminal neuralgia, TM for sure. I'm not trying to build an alphabet, I really am not. But it made me anxious and scared. How am I going to do this if this is going on? And I've managed to calm myself. It's still there, but I've been able to speak real into it. When an attack, see, words, mix them up. When an attack happens, what do? How do you deal with it? Are you relying on someone else? If you are, what are you relying on? If you're not, how do you manage this for yourself? What meds do you take? What treatment do you do? How do you deal with this? What do you eat? What do you, like, how? That was the big question I kept asking myself, and it was bringing an answer. So I would howl that answer, and it was bringing an answer, all to bring my anxiety, literally, that was up here, to bring it down to a level that I've always lived with. I have lived with anxiety, and I'm well aware of this because I think a lot. I think about everything. I overthink constantly. So I know what brings on anxiety. I'm not silly. I'm about to go left, so let me check my notes because we don't want to start rambling. It's an invisible condition, just like multiple sclerosis is invisible. It's only the individual that has the anxious feelings that know when they are, how they feel, and how they're moving, or not moving, but moving around the body and the brain. It's brutal because I don't find it too easy to explain, because the words just don't match the feelings. So I have decided to share it for you and share it for me, because when I verbalize things, they stick. They're more engraved in my brain, in my soul. And I'm smiling at myself because I'm actually happy at the simple fact that there was a problem that lasted all week, and I'm calling it a problem because it wasn't something that I wanted to invite into my life. It was uncomfortable and I didn't like it, and it lasted all week. And then at the end of the week, I looked at it, I dealt with it, I made an action plan, and hold on, it worked for me. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work every time, but it's something that I can now put into practice the next time I feel like this or similar. And adjustments might need to be made. It might not work exactly the same, but I have I'm not going to say cure, but I have a therapy. I have a medication. I have a plan of action to use on it. And that's a lot better feeling than to be feeling so uncomfortable and not knowing what way to turn, how to deal with this, whether I'm going a bit loopy-doopy crazy, or whether it's actually real. Bye for now.